Hey friends, and welcome back to the Gentleman's Journey. Guys, in this one, we are going to be talking about Chisos boots. Now friends, I've been stoked about this company for some time, and I couldn't wait to get my hands, better yet my feet, into a pair of these boots. So guys, we're gonna be talking about the build quality, the construction. We're gonna go all through these in the video. Guys, this is the initial kind of unboxing rundown. I don't typically do the full unboxing these days, but just check out how awesome Chisos is. Check out how much detail. Now friends, I own a couple of companies and I'm a businessman myself, and just looking at all the boots I've reviewed, you know, I gotta say, start to finish, they have this branding thing on point. So friends, right out the gate, when I open these up, you get a little packet here with some information. It's going to talk about their contributions to the Texas land conservation, have my order, have of course a koozie. You can stick your pop, your beer, whatever you're going to put in there, and then some stickers. So friends, I am so excited to go through this. They wrote me a little note. I'll leave that just for my eyes. But friends, check out these cloth bags. These are actually kind of padded, if you will. These bags are amazing. So if you get a boot like this, you know right out the gate that you're getting something worth having. So another thing they stuck in there, we'll get into that later, is some of their leather balm. So lots of good stuff coming in here. And check out these boots, friends. Guys, I am telling you, like, these boots, oh, they do something for me. So friends, we're gonna go through all these boots. We're gonna talk about the sizing, the fit, again, the care instructions. We're gonna go to town on these. So friends, if you're new here, my name is Charles and this is the Gentleman's Journey. We talk a lot about men's boots and other guy related things on this channel. So friends, I take you along on my journey toward becoming a better gentleman. We're all about products that are good value, good quality, not consumerism, not cheap stuff. We've reviewed a couple cheap boots, but there's a time and place for everything, so we'll get into that. But friends, these by no means are cheap boots. So I did not buy these boots. Chisos sent them out to me for review. Don't forget, that makes it a lot easier on me to get more videos out to you guys. I'm gonna have a link in the description, also making it easier on me. If you guys buy a set of boots through that link, it's not gonna cost you any extra. It's just gonna tell Chisos that I sent you over there. So friends, what do you say we get into these boots some more? Friends, right off the gate, this is an 11-inch shaft. So, you know, when you're looking for a Western boot, that's what you want. But the special thing, and I love how they put all this in there so that, you know, it's gonna hold shape and everything. And yes, I did put all this back in there. Yes, I've had them on, but it's just fun to show you guys what I get to see. So you can't smell that coming through the camera, but friends, it is just awesome. So 11-inch shaft here, and right here this stitching is what just sets this boot apart. Now obviously I'm not the type to stick my pants down in my boot, so when I'm wearing these you're not going to be seeing that. But friends, this is based off of kind of some of the old hieroglyphics over in Big Bend National Park down in Texas. So this is a Texas company through and through, and so these are kind of based off of that. So you'll see that stitching right away, and that's something you'll notice. The other cool thing is it has pull tabs that I can actually get my fingers in. Friends, I have some big old hands, and I have so many boots where I can't even get my pinky finger in the pull tab to put them on. So I was thrilled with that, but check out that color. So friends, they offer this in this brown. It's called a brushed brown. They have magic black, which I thought was fun, and then they have their rough out. Now I already have a brown rough out in my Tacovas, so I wasn't looking for that. I am looking for kind of like a casual everyday use boot, and this ticks all the boxes, let me tell you that, friends. So something about this boot right out the gate that they're setting out to do, this boot is designed to essentially go from the farmer ranch to the rodeo to the, if you're taking your wife out on the town dancing. I like to say, if you're a guy who's maybe running some meetings in the evening, you're a contractor or something, you need to show up to a business casual meeting, man, you can pull this off in a lot of situations. So It's certainly a very work-oriented style boot. Has a lot of tough things built into it. When we go through the leather and the nuts and bolts, you'll learn more about that. But it really dresses up well. Has a square toe. A lot of guys, when I've done different videos, really, you either love the square toe, and I think on average, when I'm out traveling around, I feel like I see more square toes these days than not. But when I talk about square toes on the channel, I get a lot of hate. So friends, this is a really clean, crisp, a little bit more narrow of a square toe. So yeah, it's a square toe, but it's really clean and refined. But let's get into the leather a little bit. So friends, again, this company, it's down in Mexico is where they're made. It's a Texas-based company. You're gonna see that throughout all the marketing. Right here, do right, love Texas. A lot of with their giving back to the Texas land conservation and stuff is all going back to Texas. Now friends, my folks are in Texas. I got 2 brothers in Texas. My wife's sister is in Texas, so we got a lot of people down in Texas. I spend the spring and the fall down there, and so I just love all the state parks. We try to get to as much of the state as possible, and when I found out that Chisos is giving back, I thought, man, that's already a company I can get behind. We need to do everything we can to keep these lands clean, keep them open and available. And being a Christian, one of my first goals, God put us on the hierarchy. We're to be stewards of the land and stewards of the animals, and so I appreciate all that. And friends, before we get into the leather, actually, this company was founded by Will Roman. He was recovering from a motorcycle accident, and he was actually out in Big Bend staring off at the Chisos mountain range, and he decided it was time for him to create a better cowboy boot. He couldn't really wear cowboy boots at the time, or when he did, they hurt, and he wanted to basically study. So he went out and studied with all kinds of different boot makers. He read all kinds of old books and literature, and he went down to Mexico and actually learned a bit from the manufacturers who were making these boots for him now today, and just took all that and learned what was working with the cowboy boot industry, what wasn't working, what were some of the things he wanted to see better, and kind of where some of these bigger companies started falling short. Like any good company, you start off strong, but then you look for ways to increase profit margins, and so then you start cutting corners. So what he wanted to do, and the rest of the folks over at Chisos with this boot, was to be the top of the line. So of course you're going to see it compared with Lucchese's all the time and other boot makers like that. But these guys are in Texas, and I'll probably say Texas 1,000 times, because when you read their literature, you see it 1,000 times. Huge Texas company. I'm actually up here in Washington State. So friends, I am pretty far from Texas, but I'll be in Texas in about 2 months. So I look forward to one day standing in Big Bend and looking off of the Chisos Mountains myself wearing these boots. But at any rate, they actually use adult cow leather. So they take retired milk cows, dairy farm cows, and they will get the leather from that. They were saying on their website that a lot of boots are calf skin, and you can only get about 1 to 2 pair of boots out of one calf, surprisingly, where these guys you can get multiple pairs. So they're working down in Texas, with their boot makers, and they have their leather processes. It's a proprietary process where they take these cows and are able to get, like I said, a ton of different pair of boots out of one, but it comes out super supple. So this is full grain leather, really great. And when it comes out, when I have it right now, it is just incredibly supple. Yet again, it's supposed to be ready for the ranch, for the farm, and into the city for nighttime dancing, if you will. So I don't know enough about their process. Maybe one day I can work with them and learn a little bit more about what they got going on in there. But again, we talked about the 3 different colors that they have in this leather. I can't wait to get into that 1 year mark, and we'll know a little bit more personally about how they've held up. But I took the time to read through a bunch of reviews, watched other videos and stuff, and everything I'm seeing about this leather, it's a phenomenal leather. So it's starting to seem to me like each part of this boot outshines the other, or maybe they're all just equally shining bright, but you come inside and you see this liner. So this is what they call a cactus fruit color. So it's kind of a red maroon, if you will, and it's just beautiful. I feel like when you're pulling your boot on in the morning, you're just gonna feel like you're high class or something. And there's something about, as gentlemen, you know, if you have a nice clean shave, or you got a new crispy set of pants or something like that, you got a nice boot that you're pulling on, and if you feel better, it's gonna show, it's gonna come out, it's gonna come basically pouring out of your pores. You're gonna kind of breathe excellence, you know, if you will. So I feel like there's something good about pulling on a nice set of boots, and just something about that offset color. It's like that secret surprise that only you know about, because you're the guy putting these on and taking them off in the morning. It just makes you feel good. So a nice bright kind of cactus color there, but what they've done with the stitching on the inside is they've made it where it's nice and smooth. So I guess that's another place where they kind of kick Lucchese in the pants, is that's not so smooth on the stitching, and the way they hem that on the inside of other boot makers as well. And so it's a really nice on and off, beautiful color in there. And then we can come down to this liner. So they have a removable liner, and this is something where, of course, you can take it out if you have your own orthopedics or if you have something going on. But reportedly, they were saying that they've had folks with plantar fasciitis, however you say that. With this liner, they've been able to wear cowboy boots again, where other cowboy boots they haven't been able to. So beyond that, then we get into kind of the midsole. So there's another piece of leather, this is the liner. You have the footbed, that's a leather, and then in between that is a thin layer of cork, and that's a veg tan leather. Then you have another piece of veg tan leather that is the actual midsole. Inside there also is a steel shank running through the boot. And then we can kind of talk about, you know, how it's stitched together with the welt and the midsole. And of course, if you're the type of guy who has spurs, this is going to offer a really nice shelf so you can actually wear that. Reportedly, there's a lot of boots where you can't set a set of spurs on there, and so it kind of takes away some of what a cowboy boot should do for guys. So obviously, if you're watching this video, you're coming in, you're interested in boots, you're interested in cowboy boots, but you might be the type to be interested in some of the stuff we're talking about in terms of the company and the process and the materials, and making sure that all your hard-earned money is going into something that's going to last and that's something worthwhile. So as we get into kind of a little bit more of the midsole and we start talking about the lasting process and the welt, I think that's another place where these boots really shine and definitely outshine some of their competition. So it has that heel rand again, but friends, we're going to talk about the welt, and it has a channel stitch. So what you'll see on a lot of the over-the-counter, if you will, off-the-shelf cowboy boots is a Goodyear welt, but they have a lot of synthetic materials and even just junk in there. So everything here is going to be leather, but this is a channel stitched welt, and so that actually goes into the midsole. Now this is perfectly reasonable for any cobbler to get in there and change, so don't worry if you're not getting a Goodyear welt that maybe your local cobbler can't handle it. This is still going to be something that they'll be completely ready for. So when it's time for a new outsole, you can get it fixed up just in your local town or whatever. But again, check out the facts part of the website, and you'll see how they say that with the Goodyear welt and a lot of the cheap $100, $200, you go down to your local hardware store and grab a set of boots, that's going to let a lot of water in. So this channel stitching is far superior. And again, you're getting right into that midsole. So everything, again, is handmade down in Mexico. And something about their workers down there, they like to mention, you're hearing more of this on the boot, on all the websites. Again, like I said, if you're coming here, you probably want to know a little bit more about what you're buying. So they're saying that down there, they go down about once a month and hang out with the workers and see how things are going and learn from the workers and encourage the workers and this and that. But they also make sure and give them a better wage than anybody in that region. So the workers making these boots have health care, they have a pension plan, they have good working environment, and they can go home that day and be proud of the wage that they earned. So You know, I want to make my wage, I know you want to make yours, but we want to support as much as possible products that other folks are able to get a decent wage, you know. So they're really proud of that. But in that, friends, everything here is handmade. So you're looking at a boot that's been poured over by a set of eyes and a set of craftsman hands that make sure every last detail on this boot is doing what we want it to do. So that takes us out to the outsole, and that's something where I'm excited. Now check that out. They got their Chisos across there, and then the Texas stamp in there. So friends, this is obviously a completely leather outsole here, and then a stacked leather heel, and then they have the rubber there. So one of the things they say is, if you're worried about this going out right away, you can right out the gate take it to your cobbler and have him slab it with a piece of rubber. That way it'll last longer. I like their analogy. It's kind of like a set of brakes on your truck. You know that this is going to go out at some point. Again, we talked about the welt. It's completely resolable, and your cobbler can handle that. So obviously you're getting into this knowing that eventually you're going to need a new outsole. It's going to wear down quicker than if it was just your typical rubber outsole. But they put that on the heel because you are going to be dragging your heel and this and that, and you get a little more traction on your heel. And then of course, continuing that theme all the way through, they got Texas coming out of the heel. But at any rate, friends, you'll see some brass and limit wood tacks here to help hold the boot together. And then you'll see, of course, the welt and the coming all the way through, and that construction there. So the lemon wood is supposed to expand and contrast when you have moisture in there, and it kind of moves when the leather's moving, if you will. So that's a really old process, and they've kept that through and incorporated that in these boots. But it's neat to understand how that works. It's kind of fun to look at, and it obviously just gives a really good aesthetic, but you know, there's a purpose behind that as well. And that's a lot of what they were learning when they started this company. And again, what some of the old classic things that are working good. Of course, there's leather everywhere. I think I might have missed it, but there's a leather heel counter in here. So they're thinking of everything. There's a structured toe. I don't think it's leather. I think that's actually synthetic, but you want to keep that toe looking crispy. So it has a really nice little bit of structure in that toe. Have you ever had a nice set of boots and then some dude steps on your toe or something? Oh man, that'll tick you off. But at any rate, friends, there's a lot going on in this boot. In terms of care, let me know if you guys want a full-on care video. This kind of reminds me of BlackRock. I think it smells close, so I'm interested to see if they have some kind of connection. But it reminds me of BlackRock. I don't know if it's their own carnauba wax and fine oils, but friends, basically what they're saying is about once every 3 months, go ahead and clean it and condition it. Keep it as dry as possible. If you're running these through water, through muck or mud, get all the mud cleaned off and get them cleaned up, and then give them a day or two to dry out completely. So if you run these really hard and you're sweating a lot, this or that, make sure and set them away for a couple days, let them dry, and then run them again. I've talked to you guys a lot about having several different pair of boots, so obviously you'll probably have another pair of boots you could be wearing in the meantime. In terms of break-in, friends, I don't expect a huge break-in process. In fact, I read a lot of reviews, and a lot of gentlemen are saying that it just isn't much of a break-in process. However, I expect 2 weeks to a month, month and a half, just for them to feel like your boots. And that's just what it takes of pretty much everyday use. That's what I found for a lot of Western boots, for cowboy boots. So, but again, with the process of getting this leather as supple as possible, I've had them on, and I feel like it's not going to be much at all. So make sure and come back for that 1-year review, and we'll get into how these boots felt. But friends, in terms of sizing, I got an 11.5. So there it is on the front of the box, 11.5, and I am a 12 on a Brannick device. So I size half a size down. I go down to even 11 sometimes. I had these on for a good long while, and I feel really confident about that size. Now, obviously, we'll know a little bit more at the 1-year review. The good thing is, worst case scenario, I could throw in a bigger sock, but I don't think I'm gonna have to. So friends, they have from 7 to 15 with a bunch of half sizes. And pretty much what they say is if you need a wide foot, just size half a size up, it's gonna go a little bit in length, but it's gonna give you that width. So hopefully that helps you guys out. If you have a really wide foot, then you may want to email them back and forth and see how that's gonna go for you. But friends, who is this boot for? I would say this boot is for the guy who's looking for a new cowboy boot. You know, this could be your first boot, your last boot. I don't think you'll need to look past Chisos. Obviously, they have the #1. They have different boots. They got some custom stuff. I really liked the look of this boot, the profile and everything. I think it will dress up really well. I think it can do business casual just fine. I think it'll work, even though that's not my intent. They do have the rough out. I probably would have gone that direction or something like that. I have a whole bunch of work boots. I have other Tacovas that are more of a work boot. So I'm gonna keep this a bit casual. I think, you know, you can pull off a whole slew of pants with it. A few different color pants and stuff, especially with it being dark. And I just think, you know, obviously depending on what you need, if you need more grip or something, if you're ranching, if you're rodeoing, I think these boots are gonna do it for you. So I think it fits a wide variety of people. Let me know if you guys have any questions about any of the stuff we covered. I know we talked about a bunch of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff on the website. I encourage you guys to head over to the facts page because they have all kinds of information about how they got to where they are today. It tells you a lot about the founder and his process, and there's a bunch of great videos on their website and on YouTube. Beautiful looking boots, friends. I would highly recommend these. So again, I have a link there. I appreciate all the support that we get through all that, friends. It's just huge. So make sure and use that if you're thinking about getting these boots. I'm willing to do a cleaning video. We can do a whole rundown on this. It's not super intense. I mean, these boots could take polish and stuff like that if you want to. That color, it's a bit of a pull-up. I mean, it's really not a pull-up leather, but the way they've kind of hand brushed it and hand did that leather is just incredible. There's these tones that pop through, but again, we can talk about doing a cleaning video and stuff like that. We're gonna do a 1-year review on these. Friends, I love Chisos. I love what they stand for. Got a great history, got a great thing going with donating some of the funds to Texas land conservation. They have a military discount, so if you guys are military, make sure and check that out as well. You can get connected with that. You can go visit them. I think they're based out of Austin, so on their website you can set up a time, or you can go during their hours and go check them out. A lot of good stuff going on over here. I'm an open book, so make sure and ask. Friends, we got a lot of fun stuff on the channel. You know, it's been a couple weeks. If you check back the most recent video I had, it was me talking about losing my dog. So that kind of set me back for a couple weeks. That will rock your world, man. It's still rocking my world. It's something that I don't wish on anybody. Just like they say, I wish grandpas never died. I wish good old dogs last forever. But unfortunately for me, that was not the case. And so, friends, that really rocked my world. That's the most recent video. Got some more cowboy boots actually coming out. We got a leather satchel that I can't wait, a briefcase that we're gonna get into. So some really fun stuff there. And then we'll put in the occasional random stuff. Love to cover knives and all kinds of guy related stuff. Flashlights, EDC. So friends, that's what you can expect over here on the Gentleman's Journey. So until the next video, God bless. And hey, don't forget to give those boots some love from time to time.